Evansville, Indiana was a town draped in shadows and silence, a sepia-toned tableau from a long-forgotten era. Its quiet lanes and weather-worn houses whispered tales of simple lives, interspersed with sporadic bursts of unspoken complexities. Nestled in this hushed panorama, a lonesome figure etched itself against the backdrop of the twilight. Jake Manning was not an imposing man. He was neither tall nor particularly robust, yet his eyes held a quiet intensity that hinted at a well of unfathomable depths. His boyish charm and disarming smile often distracted people from the flitting shadows of past traumas that occasionally surfaced in his gaze. Jake sat hunched over his cluttered desk, engrossed in a montage of photos and newspaper clippings related to the Cadwell family. A dim lamplight cast a warm glow on his furrowed brow, revealing lines etched by sleepless nights and relentless pursuits. One hand held a lukewarm cup of coffee, the other idly tapped a pen against a dog-eared notebook, the rhythm a comforting pattern in the enveloping quiet. He found himself drawn to a particular picture of the Cadwell crypt, an imposing structure that seemed to cast a pall of gloom in broad daylight. The crypt was an anachronism, a piece of the past that refused to fade away. Its Gothic spires and weathered stone gargoyles seemed to hold an uncanny sense of dread, a feeling of being watched by unseen eyes from an unvisited past. He was brought out of his reverie by a knock on the door. An old woman, Mrs. Abernathy, the town's gossip monger, had brought him a pie. Amidst the pleasantries and the sweet aroma of fresh blueberry pie, Mrs. Abernathy shared the town's whispers about the Cadwells. She spoke in hushed tones of old rituals, strange occurrences, and hidden secrets. He listened, the skeptical investigator's mind filtering the wheat from the chaff. "Be careful, Jake. The Cadwells ain't like us. They've always been different," Mrs. Abernathy warned him as she left. The hint of genuine fear behind her kind, crinkled eyes set a chill down his spine. The sun had set, and the room was bathed in the soft glow of the desk lamp. He packed his gear, the picture of the crypt, the whispers of Mrs. Abernathy echoing in his mind, pushing him towards the inevitable confrontation with the mysteries the town of Evansville held in its crypt. As the Indiana dawn broke, the Cadwell crypt stood stark against the backdrop of gentle hues of orange and lilac. Its weather-beaten stones bore the marks of time, and the gargoyles perched atop bore silent witness to secrets that lay within its cold stone belly. Jake stood before this relic of a bygone era, feeling an uncanny sensation akin to standing at the precipice of an abyss. The shadows and whispers of Evansville had led him here, to the mouth of a mystery that was slowly unfurling itself. With a deep breath, he pushed open the creaking iron gates of the crypt. The metallic taste of dread lingered at the back of his throat as he descended into its quiet solitude. The air was thick with a peculiar mustiness, the smell of damp earth and old parchment. Had found himself in an unseen corner of the crypt, a dusty old library hidden behind a stone panel. The sight of ancient, leathery books and frail scrolls sent a thrill through him. Here lay the past of the Cadwell family, each volume a cryptic chapter in their history. His fingers traced the faded gold lettering on a particular tome, the arcane symbols seeming to shimmer in the dim spectral light. Hours turned into moments as he delved into the lore, a fascinating tapestry of legends and prophecies, of otherworldly portals and dark rituals. He noted with a shudder the recurring symbol that seemed to represent the cosmic entities the Cadwells were alleged to consort with. The symbol appeared to shift, to writhe under his gaze, a macabrous dance of eldritch horror. As night fell, his dreams started taking on an ethereal quality. They were vivid and surreal, filled with sprawling, cyclopean structures that seemed to defy the laws of physics and space, inhabited by strange, monstrous creatures. They whispered in a tongue that was both alien and familiar, their voices a cacophony of cosmic winds. These dreams followed him into his waking hours, transforming his reality into a surreal landscape. The town of Evansville, the faces of the people, everything bore the faint echo of his nightmares, their edges blurred, their colors seeping into each other. He found himself drawn back to the Cadwall crypt day after day, the whispers of the lore beckoning him. The narratives of the tomes started seeping into his reality, blending the line between the physical and the metaphysical, making him question his own sanity. The crypt, the library, the books. They were not just remnants of the past. They were portals, windows into another reality that existed parallel to theirs, an unimaginable world that was slowly reaching out to him. As he descended deeper into this rabbit hole, he couldn't shake off a feeling of being watched, of being drawn into a cosmic dance that had been set in motion eons ago. He knew he was standing on the threshold of something immense, something that threatened to shatter his perceptions of reality. The whispers were growing louder, the veil thinner, and the dance was just beginning. The days in Evansville blurred into one another, each indistinguishable from the last. The town was still, yet beneath the surface a silent tempest brewed. Jake stood at the epicenter, the old Cadwall crypt his sanctuary, the ancient books his guiding star. Sleep became a scarce commodity, haunted by the phantasmagoric dreams of monstrous entities and their abyssal realm. His waking hours were filled with research, each deciphered symbol, each unraveled prophecy, adding a layer to the reality he was only beginning to perceive. He found the blackmail letters amidst the Cadwall archives, wrapped in old velvet and sealed with the same eerie symbol that had danced in his nightmares. The words within bore the weight of centuries, demanding an impossible sacrifice in exchange for something even more unthinkable. The entities, the cosmic horrors that had been legends and whispers, had infiltrated their reality. The Cadwalls were not just victims, but were part of a grander design. The crypt was no longer a tomb of the past, but an altar for the future. It was a crossroads between their reality and the unfathomable entities lurking behind the veil. He realized the very fabric of his existence was thinning, threads being pulled by the unseen forces that lay just beyond his comprehension. Amidst the anxiety and the uncertainty, he found an uncanny sense of calm. His nights of PTSD-induced insomnia and the trauma that had held him captive began to take on a different form. Not a chain, but an armor. The despair he had known was now being overshadowed by a far grander dread. Yet he found strength in his resolution, his motivation to unearth the truth and find the lost. The town's once familiar faces looked different to him now, as though they were marionettes in a play scripted by the cosmos. His conversations grew scarce, each dialogue echoing with hidden meanings and unspoken fears. Even Mrs. Abernathy's concerned prattle seemed to hold cryptic messages. Yet he pushed on, navigating through the labyrinth of his unraveling reality. He understood now that he was not merely an investigator, but a key player in an unimaginable dance. The stakes were higher than he'd ever imagined, the dance floor spanning across realities. The Cadwalls, the townsfolk of Evansville, even himself, were all cogs in a cosmic machine beyond their understanding. As he stood before the crypt, under the silver sheen of a full moon, he felt a chilling acceptance seep into him. He was treading sacrificial grounds, a pawn in a grand game of cosmic chess. The portals were not doorways, they were invitations. The choice to step through, however, was his own. The moon hung heavy over Evansville, casting long, eerie shadows that danced amidst the silent buildings. Jake, a figure etched in solitude, stood before the Cadwall crypt. The whispers of the town, the echo of the ancient lore, all culminated here to this singular defining moment. Inside the crypt, the air was thick with an ancient anticipation, the kind that had lingered for centuries awaiting fruition. Each stone, each dusty tome, each cryptic symbol was now an integral part of his existence, as though he had always been entwined with this cosmic ballet. His dreams had transformed into vivid visions now, mirroring the chilling reality of the ancient text. The entities, cosmic horrors of incomprehensible forms, reached out from the depths of the abyss, their whispers becoming a symphony of the cosmic winds. They spoke of a grand design, a union of realities, a dance that would echo across the cosmos, and he was the chosen dancer. But he understood there was a rhythm to this madness, a purpose to his relentless torment. The crypt, the Cadwalls, Evansville, even his own past were all just stages in the cosmic dance. The whispers were not threats but an invitation. The crypt not a tomb but a gateway. As he stood at the edge of the abyss, he made a choice. Not of surrender, but of sacrifice. He chose to embrace the cosmic horrors, to step into the dance, to become one with the abyss. For he realized to fight the cosmic entities was to deny their existence, to challenge their reality. Instead, he chose to accept, to understand, to join. He found himself at the heart of the cosmic dance. He was no longer merely a man, but a guardian of realities, a beacon standing at the edge of the abyss. The cosmic entities were no longer horrors, but a part of him, their whispers now a melody that flowed through him. The final moments were not of fear, but of acceptance, not of despair, but of enlightenment. He had joined the cosmic dance, not as a pawn, but as a dancer, not lost, but found. And so, under the watchful moon, amidst the quiet town of Evansville, the dance continued, with Jake now an integral part of its rhythm. The Cadwall crypt, once a symbol of dread, now stood as a beacon, a reminder of the dance that spanned across realities. The dance was far from over, the melody far from complete, but he was ready, for he was no longer just a man. He had embraced the cosmic horrors, and in doing so, had become a part of them. We appreciate you tuning in. If you fancied the content, show your support with a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to keep up with our eerie adventures. Eldritch Tales Factory has plenty more to offer. Until next time.